Marta. Is it your first time in Bulgaria, and how do you feel about it so far?
It is my first time in Bulgaria, and I'm really thrilled to be here. It's a completely different place geographically, culturally, and people smell different. I love the smell of people, their perfumes and the smell of nature, the lilac bushes, they are really captivating.
Great, thank you. How would you describe your profession as a sensilier?
Yes, the profession of a sensilier is something that I created 10 years ago. This profession didn't exist before. I just got this idea and this dream that later on turned into a plan and a mission to spread the knowledge regarding scent, regarding perfume, the power of scent, the language of scent, how we can use it in creating our image, in designing, in therapy, in communication. So this is basically telling other people how they can use the scent as a means of expression.
That's great. And what inspires you in your work?
I find my inspiration in travel, in people, in nature, in reading. If you want to have vast knowledge regarding scent, you need to investigate many different areas. You need to learn about psychology, you need to learn about medicine, about philosophy, about culture, about arts, about design, about communication, about new technologies. And generally it's like a cascade of impressions and a cascade of inspirations. I try to visit different trade events. I get inspiration from different fields of industry, and I work in teams. I also work in multidisciplinary groups of people where we influence one another.
Can you create the first impression of a person just by the scent they use?
Definitely, you can create the first impression by the scent they use. It's not only by the scent must be compatible with the rest of the image. But if you prepare your styling carefully, if you think about your clothes, about the color, the form, the shape, if you think about the hair and makeup and forget about the scent, then your image is not complete. The scent is something that actually completes the way you look, the way you move and the way you behave. And scent has secrets. It can make you look lighter, it can make you look younger, it can make you look more approachable, or you can smell more powerful, you can smell more distant, you can also exude self-confidence or sensuality. So the language of scent reaches everywhere, to every aspect of who we are.
What kind of scent do you prefer, and do you have personal perfume? What is your taste?
It's my taste in perfumes, and I'm not going to be very original here. It stems from my personal experience and from my childhood memories. I like the smells of nature, of resins, of wood, of smoke. I like the scent of jasmine because we had a jasmine bush in the yard. And when I look for perfume for myself, I need to think of various things. I need to think of the message that I want to convey. I need to think about the way I feel, about the weather. So in hotter months, I prefer a very crisp, like clean linen scents, very often with a hint of mandarin, which is my favorite citrus fruit. I like layering scents on my body and mixing them with one another. I like to wear perfumes that are a little bit mysterious, therefore I use a lot of woody notes. I like the smell of leather, it gives me the feeling of confidence, and I like to experiment and to make my own perfumes in tiny amounts, sometimes even for a day. So it's like my Monday perfume or for the first weekend of spring.
Are there any trends in perfumes, and which fragrances will be preferred in spring-summer 2016?
Yes, there are trends, and it's very important to say that trends are not fashion trends, so you do not plant them. It's not like an artificial plant that is planted onto the market. Trends are results of our wants, of our choices, of our consumer choices. And in the spring and summer 2016, we can say very generally that we are going to smell perfumes that are very close to our heart, to our European nature, to our European culture. We are going to see perfumes that smell of fruits. Very often these will be the notes of very cold fruit, like a sorbet made of frozen fruits. We are going to get perfumes that smell of herbs like rosemary, like lavender, lavender, like sage, so the smell of a summer sun-drenched meadow. We are going to have the smell of forest, of the pine tree, of cedar wood, of cypress. These are the scents that when we close our eyes, we get this impression that we are in the middle of a forest or in the middle of a field, and we are in close contact with nature. There is also this trend called transparent florals, with the main note, which is the freesia flower, again very typical for European bouquets, gardens, florist shops. And finally, the note of praline, burnt sugar, caramel for those who like the gourmand fragrances that are just appetizing and mouth-watering.
What is the leading in choosing a signature perfume? Are there any special tests to determine that what components to include, or another method?
Yes, when I choose a signature perfume for a person who comes to my workroom for olfactory profiling, I always try to think of it as a process. So first we need to find out about the preferences of the person. When we map out the preference, the sensory preferences, what colors, what textures, what temperatures, what sounds, what foods, which season this person prefers, then we get something like a sensory map. And on this sensory map we can find different areas where this person can find different elements that can later on be translated into a perfume wardrobe, because mostly we don't use the same clothes for every styling and for every occasion. We should have a perfume wardrobe that will give us different perfumes for different occasions, at least 3, I would say, is like the optimum and the minimum at the same time. And to choose the perfect fragrance, we always need to think about the lifestyle, about the clothes, about the environment in which the person functions, and of course we always need to test the fragrance on the skin. If I'm working long distance with someone who doesn't live near me, we very often exchange tiny bits of cotton that have been worn before on the body of the person, so that they get their personal smell, and then I test the fragrance on the pieces of cotton. I put them in an envelope and send it over for the person to smell, and they can then determine if their own body scent is compatible with the perfumes that I'm choosing.
Can we say that every fragrance brings a message, and the choice of perfume claims how we feel in that exact moment?
Well, definitely scent brings a message, and we should be aware of the message. As I said at the beginning, there are perfumes that can make us seem younger, like the transparent floral perfumes, but there are also perfumes that can make us smell maybe not older, but more mature or more serious. These can then be transcribed as the smells of power and of dominance. This would be the leather or woody scents, more resinous fragrances. We can also exude freshness and lightness using watery notes like watermelon or cucumber. We can smell of a crisp, fresh white shirt, which will give us a more professional look in the way we smell. We can exude sensuality, we can smell more sexy, more feminine. Then we should choose white flowers. So perfumes have a code. This code is also reflected in how they design the bottles and the packaging. And if we know the language of scent, we can then choose the perfumes more consciously, and we can plan the image that we want to create.
When choosing a fragrance, does the cultural features and tradition of a nationality have an influence?
Definitely, we are deeply rooted in our traditions, and the smells, as I said, are a universal language, but this language is contained inside a culture. So the smell of cinnamon would be read differently when you go to India and when you go to Poland, because in India it's a component of many spice mixes and people eat it all year round, whereas in my country the smell of cinnamon is associated with apple pie, so it has different connotations. And because we start smelling even before we are born, because we have contact with the food that our mother ingests, we are prepared to like different types of smells when we are born. So if you were born on in a different part of the planet, you would have a different preparation for smelling, you would have different experience in smelling, and then different kinds of perfumes would be more or less attractive to you.
What's the best way to try on fragrances?
The best way to try fragrance is to plan it carefully, not to be in a hurry, and test no more than 4 fragrances in a row. And I always suggest it's always best to to take a strip, a smelling strip or a blotter, and test the fragrance on the blotter. Remember not to touch the blotter to your nose when you start smelling, and do not inhale the perfumes too deeply. So not like this, but we should smell more like that. And after that, we can decide if we like this perfume enough to apply it on our skin, and we can test it on the skin. When we test the perfume on the skin, we can apply it either on the inside of the body or the outside of the body, near the wrist and the elbow, on both arms. And when we have those 4 fragrances on our body, it's best to give ourselves time, at least 1 hour. Wait for the top notes to disappear and just let the perfume work to mix with the skin chemistry, and check if we still like the perfume a couple of hours after we sprayed it. It's very important not to hurry, to test it on our skin and test no more than 4 perfumes one after another.
Do you believe that essences interact with the body chemistry, so that sometimes one fragrance smells different to different people?
Definitely, fragrances interact with our body chemistry a lot, and this is the secret why your perfume wouldn't smell the same on me and the other way around. When you like a perfume on a friend, never just buy the bottle and use it. Always test it on your skin beforehand, because your skin smells of what you eat, with everything you eat, with all the drinks, with all the food, with all the medicine, but it also smells of our hormones. It also smells of what we put on the body, our soap, shower gel, body cream, washing detergents, and this mix of molecules on our skin then mixes with the composition of the perfume, and this creates this unique scent that is not possible to copy. I would have to copy your skin and then use your fragrance to smell exactly like you.
How to make a scent last long?
You need to have well moisturized skin for the perfumes to last longer, and you can do it in a couple of different ways. You can use layering, which is the technique of putting different products with the same fragrance note on your body. So use a shower gel, a body lotion or body cream, and then the eau de parfum on your skin to make the smell compatible and also more long lasting. But if you don't have the full line of products, you can use a very simple trick. You can buy sweet almond oil or jojoba oil in a pharmacy, and you can apply it on wet skin, then dry it carefully and spray perfume on this base, and it will make the perfumes last longer, even for a couple of hours. You can apply this oil on your forearms, on your chest. You can apply it even on your neck, wherever you want to spray perfume. Perfume needs an oily base to sit on. This is what prolongs the life of perfume.